Yo, how's it going, folks? It's me again, Tabo, and welcome to another web devlog. I know it's been a while since I last did this, but I'm just going to carry on from where I left off. So, one aspect, I made some changes in the blog area, right? So the initial idea was to have like a library set up with books. Each book would represent an article, right? You click on the book. I'm using raycasting, so basically when you hover on the book, it will show that it's an interactable. You click on it and then you get an article that will pop up. I decided to use CSS3D for this, but that did not look so good because it was moving. You just have basically this plane in front of the camera that is moving with you. So when you rotate and all of that is still facing the camera, but it just didn't feel right. So I decided to squash that. Then I decided to just use a simple HTML element, so there's no 3D aspect to it. It's just a pop-up with a div with some information, just like a normal blog article. But this one will just be projected in front of the camera, which is in 3D space. So the other thing is the about section, which is the gallery. I added some audio using audio position. Is it audio positioning? I think I forgot the name of it, but anyway, using audio positioning, which is basically the way that you hear the sound. It's in 3D space, right? So the further you are from it, or when the camera is looking the other way, it's like in real life where you'll just hear the sound from the left ear or the right ear depending on your orientation. So that's how it works. So I use that. Which will pop up or which will play when you click on any of the statues which represent a different aspect of a site, the about, the mission, and the vision. Okay, I'm trying to keep this fast because I don't want to like talk too much and then waste a lot of time on this. But yeah, that's pretty much how that works. So you hover on any of them, you click the play button and then it will play the audio, and then there will be also a holographic projection, which I think I covered the last time, which will pop up. I want to add some animation using the audio feedback as like an audio visualizer, so that the whole thing comes to life. It's meant to have at least some kind of emotional impact on you. So so far that's what I've done, but you will see as I go through the stage. And then last but not least is the project area, where I have a round table with cards, right? The idea was each card would represent different projects that I've worked on. So when you click on a card, it will then project. There'll be like a holographic projection in the center of the desk, just above the desk. So this would represent the different projects that I've worked on. So each one would have its own card, and there'd be some animation and all of that using shaders to make it look like a hologram. So I decided to squash that. So now I'm using cubes with using a video texture. So basically the video texture will be projected on all the cubes. Each cube will be like a pixel, so it will be just showing a portion of it, but all of them aligned together will show you the entire picture. So with all of that said, I just want to say let's just jump right into it so that you can see exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay, so after all that said, we're gonna start by exploring the blog area, and then I will show you the setup that I had mentioned. Okay, so as you can see, you've got like a little bookshelf here, and we've got a red book over here. Now at the moment I am casting array from the center of the camera. So when the center of the camera hits the book, then a 3D div will pop up. So the idea was that this would pop up and this would be the article, and so you could read the article this way. I can still move around, and wherever I'm looking, then the article is moving with me. Before, it took me a while to actually get this to work, but even after getting it to work, it doesn't really feel so good. It's just a bit weird, but this was the idea, that wherever you're looking, then it is facing you and you can read it up until you decide to close it. Now this red block over here, this is where you would close it, but at the moment this functionality is not there. So this is just the older version. And yeah, so like I said, I decided to change it. I'm not really happy with this. So now I'm just gonna switch on to the new version and then show you what that looks like. It's kind of the same thing really, but just without the 3D effect and all of that. Okay, so this is the latest version. As you can see, there are some slight differences over here. So we're gonna go back to the blog area and have a look at how this setup works. Like I said, initially it's the same. So as you can see, you've got a couch here and some couches there. Still need to add flowers and things like that, and also this has moved. So let's test it once again. So the book will hit the center. So as you can see, this is now the blog that's going to pop up, and so you can read it this way, but you don't have the 3D movement, but you can still move in your 3D space. It doesn't affect that at the moment, but it should make everything stop. So when this is open, then everything should stop. You should not be able to move or anything like that, because that is a bit weird, right? Like you know, it just doesn't feel right. The main focus should be on the article, and when you're done, then you can just close it. And when I click again, then I can then get my camera movement and I can look around like I usually could. So this is how this whole thing is supposed to work. So once again, pop up, read your article, and you won't be moving. So at the moment this is not switched off, but that's the idea. You click on that and then you're back to moving again. So that's how that should work. So next we're gonna check out the project area. Okay, so now we're headed to the projects area. Well, this, I'm not quite sure what it looked like the last time, but this is still pretty much the same. So here we are, we've got this round table over here, and we've got a card which is supposed to represent a project, but this time it's how you activate the rail. So I will have a cool design on it. So at the moment you can see you've got like these blocks. You can't actually see that it's blocks, but if you look at the edges, then you can see the edge is a bit jagged. So this is just the cubes that are moving to face me all the time. So I just set it up that wherever I'm going, then it would always be looking at me. So now we're gonna activate it. Okay, that was not activated. So yeah, now the show reel is starting to play. And what I would like to have is just put a light on it, because as I'm moving, you know, depending on where the light is coming from, which direction the light is coming from, then you can see it's darkening, you know, which would not be good. So if you're viewing this, it doesn't matter which direction you're viewing it from, it should be always lit correctly. It should be bright enough for you to actually see what is happening. So you can just then watch the whole reel, and if you want to stop it, then you can just go back to the card and just click, then that will stop it right there. So that is the initial idea, and I also wanted it to have a spherical shape in the beginning. So before you actually activate it, or before you click it or play it, it would be in a spherical form, just hovering above the table and rotating, something like that. And when you click it, then it would animate and the blocks would take on this shape, and then the reel would start playing. So much for that. So next one, we're headed to the gallery section, which is the about section, and let me show you what I have done there. Now in here I've added some orbs or some spheres with some emission on them, just so that I could find my way, because when it's dark it's kind of hard to navigate the space because you can't see anything, you know, it's really dark in here. So this is what this is there for, really. These are like just pathway markers, just so that I can navigate properly. even though they're also kind of in the way themselves because I have to keep bumping into them, but it's better with them than without. So I'm hovering over this, and you can see there's like a projection that is popping up. So at the moment I'm not actually clicking, just hovering over any of them, then that's what will activate it. So each one has a different, okay, there was a bit of a glitch there. Each one has a different hologram that goes with it. And then there would be an audio. If I click on it, then an audio should play. So that's what the idea is. So that's what that looks like. So if I then click on this, like if I'm hovering over this play button thing over here, then what will happen is that the audio will be turned on.
I am a dreamer whose passion is driven by a strong belief in human potential. I am a believer in humanity's
So this is the audio.
To evolve.
As you can hear, it's got the 3D effect.
It is my duty to live up to the standards I hold and to lead by example
according to where I'm facing.
It is this very passion that
And the sound is a bit different.
It is through design that I'm able to give them shape. They say art imitates life.
Okay, so now we're gonna turn that off. And at the bottom here, I would have loops, which would then be animated, like the color would be animated using the sound. So it'll be a sound visualization using the loops. It's meant to bring it to life, really. So I'm still kind of getting there, you know, really doing it in a way that it feels right, you know. Yeah, it has the right kind of emotional impact. So at the moment it's all a bit rough. There are so many things that need to be done here, and I keep thinking of so many things that I should add or things that I should do in order to make it better. So that's part of the process, I guess, you know. So because of that, then yeah, a lot is still unclear as to what the final thing really is gonna look like. It might look completely different to what you have now. Okay, well, not completely different, but different to what you're seeing as I progress. And the panels, I have panels on the side which had some artworks on them that was a little too much. That's what I noticed, that the main focus should be here. This should be the space that you focus on, you know. And also, by the way, I mean, when this is done, it's gonna be lit a little bit. It's gonna be dim, like the space is gonna be dim. At the moment it's completely dark, but I will light it up so that it's just dim, but not all the way lit up, so that when the hologram goes on, then it still has that nice glow effect or bloom effect. So yeah, that's that. So let's go back. So many things to be done. I would like to add also a couple of things like UI prompts, and I would also like to have different ways of navigating this environment, to have like a map which you can use to then teleport to different areas. Instead of moving around the entire area, then you can just teleport maybe to the blog area, and then you can just move around there. If you want to go to the projects area, then you can just teleport there. That's also an option, just so that people don't get tired of moving around. If you're not enjoying the space, then that would be another way to navigate. Even though I would initially, you enjoying the space is the idea, right? So that you can feel like exploring the space. Yeah, that's what it's meant to do, you know what I mean? Like the space is supposed to be interesting enough for people to want to explore it. So anyway, I think I've said about enough. So with all that said, I'll just say love and peace, my brothers and sisters. This is the end of the devlog. I'm out.